So yeah, Ahtanum Village, if some of you have probably seen this presentation. For targeted investments, I presented 24, funded, 12 back in 26. The designs are also mostly funded by the CERT board, starting in 2019. I've been working on this project for 15 years. It's pretty long. All the acquisition, I guess I'll just jump right into it. Ahtanum Village, it's not called that because there's any sort of cultural significance here. That was the subdivision that was planned for this property. In the 2010s, it was funded, it was 54 acres, 93 of surface water rights in the Ahtanum. It was kind of a post the housing crash, so the builders wanted to get out of it. It was not in the city of Union Gap at the its purchase, but it now is. It's actually zoned industrial. There's some strange reason I told you not to do that, but anyway, so Ahtanum Road, Emma Lane. You guys know about Emma Lane, so right downstream from Emma Lane, and 34th. And these are like the big Borton and Apple warehouses that is probably talking to in these 20 restaurants.
For those that don't know it, Emma Lane is the epicenter of flooding of housing developments in Ahtanum Creek due to awkward past choices.
An infamous one.
Yeah.
So won't benefit Emma Lane, but on site downstream. Anyway, so let's kind of zoom in. So it's agricultural land, grazing, and some hay production. Yeah, grazing is fairly destructive in this reach. So it was purchase of BPA funding, so there's a conservation easement on the property. And it's currently in the open space tax designation. So just the main factors, degraded. It's pretty hammered, it's pretty straightened, there's hardly any wood. It's kind of going through the evolution. There's some inset floodplain starting to develop, but lots of steep eroding banks with no riparian veg. This was a lot of it was due to the cattle grazing, which is kind of subsided with the cattle, but still really lacks any sort of diversity or habitat for this fish. So the sea recovery plan, that's why you got it all here. So floodplain construction and development is one of the main factors for steelhead in the basin, and then Natchez Action Plan 27, specific to Ahtanum Creek for floodplain and side channel restoration. Ag focus number 10, reducing incision and complexity and mainstem Ahtanum Creek. Basically in the lower Ahtanum, and then the acquisition actually met the Natchez Action 20 and 29 by riparian areas and livestock grazing. So the proposal, so just restoring natural geomorphic processes and wood loading. It doesn't flood. I got some well, it does flood. The majority of the flood is, at least in this location, is contained within the channel. The Ahtanum floods, but it's always kind of a gamble what it's going to look like when the Ahtanum floods. And it decides to jump into some of the canal in the future. But we do have some cool modeling of what this is going to do. So just basically, we need some pools, we need some complexity, we need wood, we need we're increasing channel length, we're increasing floodplains, reducing the velocities and the flows, and trying to trap some more sediments in there, and just trying to get some floodplain function and overall increased function. So the designs. So there's 18 in-stream structures. They're not fully spanning, because that was when we went through ESA stuff. There's some stuff like that, but then loose wood, blue balls in between that. Trying to reuse sediments on site for from these side channel excavations. So we're adding some new side channels, 900, almost 1,000 feet of side channel habitat. Inset floodplain excavation, which will create 6 acres of the floodplain. Re-meandering the main channel, and which will add 4 feet channel right there. And then revegging 50 acres and construction. Some design, and the designs are functionally done. We've made it through the BPA HIP 4 process. I have the Jarker package ready to submit for the core and college use for the 401, 404. It's there. So this is existing conditions going from left to right. So some sinuosity, but a lot of straight stuff. And for those who don't know, the Ahtanum Creek is the boundary for the Yakama reservation. And then proposed conditions. So here's a side channel. Here's a side channel. This is some of the inset floodplain creation and the basically filling in the existing channel and re-meandering new channels to here. Lots of wood, lots of engineered structures and then loose wood in between. And so gravel augmentation placements, so utilizing the materials that we can on site. And we have the fine stuff and the big stuff we can't use is going to go up here outside of the floodplain. It's going to be the access, the erosion control, and how we're going to get around through the construction. So like I said, this was the acquisition. The right bank on the south side is all tribal trust land. It's got two large parcels. And just some kind of zooming in on some of the side channel creation. The gravel augmentation, the roughness structures, the loose wood, and so the Ahtanum does get pretty low, especially in the summertime in Yakima. So they're designed to not suck up all the flow. And summer low flow. And the roughness structures are not channel spanning, although mostly channel spanning to try and reintroduce some more meanders there. But we did model to make sure that hopefully it won't go dry. It's modeled that way. So here's some of the inset floodplain, lots of wood. One thing to note, it's at least in the budget, so there is both wood piers and boulder ballast. So we did do some geo testing out there. There is a pretty significant cliche layer out here. So it's going to be kind of field fit. We'll use piles where they want to go in, and if they don't want to go in certain areas, we can use boulders for ballast. Here's this main channel, straight section, meandering, and some inside floodplains. So just profiles with the roughness structures. Screen through the reach. So here's existing and proposed at the 2-year. So about 300 CFS. So that it'll contain pretty much within the channel. It's really going to get water up and spread out and creating more habitat. So this 2019, so this was during the pandemic. This is also when FEMA for Region 10 kind of had that map that came out. It was the whole floodway rise thing. So that was everyone kind of freaked out, and we were kind of included in that. One of the kind of like a big side channel thing. So we went through a lot of design iterations to kind of get when we got to the final one. We do have a no rise memo from the engineers that all the flood waters and the waters will be captured on site. So it's mitigated on site. So hopefully reducing that hazards for downstream, which would be considered a key gap. But also lowering velocities, spraying water out. So just some examples. So Yakama Nation did a project on Ahtanum Creek in 2020. Very similar with the piles and the log structures, alternating, not channel spanning, kind of reinitiating some meander there. And like literally that fall, there were co-housing responding in there, really responding briefly to that project. Two very similar applications, streams and The TN probably doesn't have the low flow issues that those, but it's a very successful project. And just some of the side channel details, cross sections of the side channels, so we kind of basically be like pipped. So they'll get to, I can't get flow, they'll get engaged that, but then no flow comes in, they can get disengaged. I'm also putting in fines in these side channels to avoid the water disappearing through the bottom of it and sealing the bottom of the channel. I'll highlight some of replugging the channel and then re-meandering the main span. Some of the, again, cross sections with the re-meander, some of the pools, existing channels. It's all in the basis of design report. That's so I'm not gonna- this is a schematic of the roughness structures. This one shows the boulders, but it could be the piers they pound in. This the TN project, the first structures that we had like a clay layer, there's a clay layer up by a clay element that's like old custom deposits that was really resistant to the piers. It struggled, and they spent about a week in that first few of them, so that they found out the hang of it, so they didn't have to use boulders, but logs into the bed upstream. So here's some of the miscellaneous details, some of the gravel augmentation, some of the roughness logs. So when they put, so these are all going to be have root balls, and so there's going to be like a little pool dug for each of the roughness logs. And kind of skin that, so try to count those things in. And the planting plan. So almost all the access is on the very left. So the access will be through the side channels, and the river right should have minimal to no disturbance. And see really out. The plant list is also in the design package. And then the budget, the numbers have fluctuated a little bit. I found errors in the engineer's estimate. I didn't think that was, it was in the plant stuff, so it must have been the plant. Yeah, so 1.9, so this is targeted investments. Just some it's very similar to a project that was completed at the Sal High School in the Ahtanum, and we also built some inset floodplains, but not as many wood structures. I do not believe. Just again, it was initially funded through surfboard with the finishing touches by the EPA. That's my presentation. Questions?
Yeah, when you're reading the end of the stream, does that change the boundary of the reservation?
Yes, but
It's on the other side.
yeah, most of so we're not moving it
Back and forth.
into the reservation. You can move it outside the reservation.
Oh,
It expands
Grow
reservation.
I mean, the fall right isn't really changing that much. We're adding some side channels, but I mean, we're adding re-meandering it, but it's I haven't asked tribal council that question.
So if you ditched a tandem around to join the Natchez right there.
Do you have other funds in the project for construction?
No, I had some previously in 24. Those funds are no longer available. We put it in, I put this in for floodplains by design, but it's a similar situation where the legislature. But no, no difference. Wait, you got some?
No, I know.
I had some years, but
I know, you had some of mine.
it took too long. I couldn't spend it. My apologies.
Okay, another question though is that Not saying to do this now and go for this funding at full value and current designs, but is there something that's a little less heavy-handed with the engineered log jams and inset floodplains to drop the price but still have ecological value? To get a project done.
The hard part is the no rise.
Oh, right.
So there's a floodway here, it's in the city. A
Okay.
lot of that is, I mean, we could do less structures. But for the no rise, you gotta spread that water out and just, the inset floodplain. So I guess scalable, the only. Yeah. Would be. The wood structure, so like less wood,
Yeah. We still didn't actually decrease the cost that much.
probably not.
Yeah. Well, there's the-
Yes.
Oh, no,
The side channels, are those old meanders
Yeah,
that you're gonna, and so a little bit of dig in or just kind of push the water that direction?
I mean, they're building new channels, but I mean, they're pretty, they're first. First, they don't get wet. Probably under the water flow, but I've not seen water in them, and since 20. But yeah, it's taking advantage of. Soils that such ones.
other questions?
You guys are tired, it's been a long day, right?
We got just a little bit longer. Joel, did I hear you had a question?
You just look mad there.
Anybody online have anything you wanted to ask?
So this project, was on the previous TI list. It didn't rank high enough to receive the funding that had been set aside for TI a few years ago. It was included in the budget request. This year, the legislature did not give any additional funding to the search board for any of the Salmon Grant programs. So this would have been the next project funded. It will have to recompete, and it could be funded off the old list if money came out of somewhere. But what we're doing is setting up to recompete to be put on a new list and ranked again by the state for the next full budget cycle. So it's a long process, it's a speculative process. In some ways, the fact that this isn't dependent on other funding already secured is a positive thing, just because with the uncertainty of timing. You hate to hold other funds hostage to their maybes. Unless you can clear the things and spec out first pass. And we won't know how, it'll be interesting to see what level of statewide competition there is for the TI. The challenge, they have to be large projects and the design, they have to have completed preliminary designs. And yet they need to be able to accept maybe funding 1 to 2 years out. And that's a sort of unique set of conditions. You generally don't have things far enough and have everything pulled together. But still are able to wait for a maybe.
Was there anything else that you hoped we would have time to cover?
No, I mean, there's a memo. I uploaded online that kind of described the cost change since 24. It has gone up since 24. Some of that's just inflation, and some of that is the fines to seal the side channels. And the engineer oversight went up a little bit, and I don't know if I had indirect in the last. Or indirectly has gone down, but explains the question.
I'll be sure to review that. I know it's the end of the day, people are a little low energy, but are there any final questions for John?
All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you for coming in.
Your time.